Hello and welcome to Today in the News on Vanguard Live. My name is Dablola Okunshaki. This morning, I'll be reviewing the front pages of the dailies and also analyzing them. Now, let's move straight to the front page of Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with El-Rufai cries. Element in Aso Villa want APC to lose election. Says APC didn't promise to retain petrol subsidy and redesign NAIRA. Fourth, those blaming CBN Governor Emefiele for NAIRA redesign. We are not aware of anyone working against APC. Federal government replies El-Rufai. Insists Buhari has no favored presidential candidate. Says Nigeria not tackling corruption to impress TI. You can see that story on page 5 of Vanguard newspaper. On page 6, Alliance talks. NNPP, Labour Party disagree with Atiku. 21, Women's Own, cash swap policy. Market women grown as SMEs grind to a halt. Learning at 83, I still want to become a professor. That's coming from DU. In sport on page 28, Onuachu breaks EPL height record. Page 8, we have Akeredolu to Buhari, allow uniformity in salaries, workers' allowances. And on page 6, poll, we don't have any preferred candidates. That's coming from United States Envoy. And on page 2 here, we have ex Nadeko chief Dan Sulaiman dies at 81. Stories above on page 9, court grants Kanu's request for access to doctor. Lastly, on the front page of Vanguard newspaper, NAIRA redesign, Hardship anger as old new notes remain elusive. And you can see that story on page 3. Now let's move to the Punch. Punch newspaper this morning is leading with Sokoto, Zamfara Casino, bother residents trade in CFA, and that's according to the new NAIRA scarcity. Customers without new NAIRA note must pay in CFA, traders insist. Banking halls empty, NCCI says NAIRA swap poor, affecting businesses. ICPC arrest currency hawker, angry youth protest in Ekiti and Delta State. On pages 4 and 5, Anambra gunmen kill teenager, burn 1,240 INEC materials. Amosun Abiodun clash over performance and abandoned projects. Stories above, no favorite candidate, says United States Envoy. Lastly, on the Punch newspaper, presidential candidate, Wike frustrated, lacks integrity, says PCC. You can see that story on page 13 of the Punch newspaper. The Guardian newspaper this morning is also leading with Buhari for free poll, not against any candidate. Federal government replies El-Rufai. El-Rufai, people in Aso Rock working against Tinubu. Aisha Buhari shares El-Rufai video, validates claim. APC national chairman, NWC mom. Tinubu remains unstoppable in spite of Villa conspiracy, says Alake. Act swiftly on El-Rufai's comments. Kekemeke tax Adamu. You can see that story on page 6. Nigeria not fighting corruption to impress anyone. Federal government replies Transparency International. Lastly, on the Guardian newspaper, why we prioritize irrigation schemes by Buhari. You can see that on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. Now, let's take a look at The Nation. The Nation newspaper this morning is leading with El-Rufai, elements in government working against Tinubu. Ekotia says the NAIRA redesign and fuel scarcity are the handiwork of fifth columnists who want to bring the country down. You can see that story on page 25 of The Nation newspaper. And our Lekki Ekpe Road will boost Lagos economy. Sanwo-Olu opens expressway. Worsening NAIRA scarcity odds daily living and businesses. Drama in banking halls. Customers keep vigil at ATM banks. Bank officials arrested. You can see these stories on page 29. Amotekun attacks Abiodun at ADC rally. Here we have presidential poll. Wike avoids a stadium approval for Atiku's campaign. Tinubu Shetima Women Wing Old Town Hall meeting in Kebbi. We won't jettison our promises, Obi tells Adamawa supporters. Lastly, on the Nation newspaper, no catch missing in Ogoni Trust Fund, says Edun. You can see that story on page 6 of the Nation newspaper. And that's all we have on the front pages of the dailies this morning. Join us after the break as our guests will be analyzing the stories. Welcome back. If you're just joining me, this is Today the News on Vanguard Live. I'm Dablola Okunshaki. Joining me to analyze the front pages of the dailies this morning is Mr. Oludari Mayowa. He's a publisher of Global Financial Digest. Good morning, Mr. Mayowa.
Good morning. Thanks for having me today.
Yes, thank you very much. All right, Governor Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State said yesterday that some elements in the presidency rather, were working to ensure failure of the APC in this month's presidential election. I mean, it's just 23 days to the election, and El-Rufai is saying this. What do you think about this?
Thank you very much. When you hear such thing from politicians, then you take it with a pinch of salt, really. I'm sure it's a conspiracy theory, and of course you cannot rule out the fact that probably there are some signals that are indicating that probably there could be something fishy on the ground. But it would be inconceivable for the presidency, for example, or the president, for example, to work against his own political party to frustrate them. And yes, when you talk of element, he didn't mention the president, no doubt about it. But probably he mentioned some of the kitchen cabinet, and the way he said it, he's saying some people who are very close to the president, so to say, when the element in the Aso Rock, must be referring to people who are very close to the president. And you cannot really let that one out too, that there are people who may not really like the candidate of the party, who are just not necessarily doing the president bid, doing their own bid to using their office to do it. But it's unfortunate that APC is watching the dirty linen outside, and people who release that will just be mocking them, because if the house is divided against itself, then it means the house will not stand. So for me, on what basis? Yes, they are giving the issue of the NAIRA redesign and the scarcity of fuel and the rest. Probably I want to guess that probably they are even in the civilian governor, probably being the arrowhead of the people within the presidency, although that kind of thing. But I would advise the APC to focus on the garnering support for the people. The presidency are not the one going to vote. The president is not going to determine who is going to rule, who is going to win the election. It's the electorate. And if they actually believe in a ballot, I think they should focus on go out there and mobilizing maximum support for their candidate, rather than just peddling around the conspiracy theory. I'm not really out that it could be possible, but for rather they would actually should focus on their campaign, on the election, on ensuring that they sell their mandate. I mean, their manifestos to the people, so they can have enough vote for themselves. That's what I would advise them to do.
But we can't deny that there are long queues and the filling stations, and it's been for a long time now. And what do you think about this? If you think what El-Rufai is saying is actually not true, what do you think is the cause of the fuel scarcity?
Yeah, I'm not saying that what you say is not true or is true. What I'm saying is, yeah, they should focus their attention, because what they are saying, they are embarrassing themselves, they are embarrassing their political party, and they are creating a pressure that they are divided as a political party. And going to a sensitive election like this and giving a pressure that the party is divided, it will counterproductive to the candidate of the party. That is exactly my position. I'm not saying it was true or not. But going back to the queue in the filling station, it's unfortunate, like I said before, right now, it's unfortunate that a few weeks, few days, few months to the election, no more, we are in 20-something days to election, we are still experiencing acute fuel scarcity, which might actually affect the election, because INEC will need the NURTW to move their materials to the polling booth across the country in the nuclear. If there is no fuel, how would they do that? Those who are going to vote, those who are going to monitor the election will need fuel to monitor the election. If there is no fuel, how would they do it? So the government need to do something about it. And because nobody has ever given any sensible explanation on the cost of this scarcity at this present time. What people are guessing is that the NAP is not importing enough because of the huge subsidy paying on the fuel, and they are trying to ration whatever they have in stock, and that's what causes the scarcity. If that is the case, then government should actually make arrangement for emergency supply so that we can ease the pressure on the people on the electoral process so that we can have a successful election.
All right, let's talk about NAIRA redesign. And I'm very sure, I think I need to ask you, do you currently have enough cash with you?
No, you can't, then you can have, if you have enough cash, that means you're a politician or a money trafficker, in a way. I went to my bank a few days ago to withdraw, go and see the queue. If I have to go back to the banking and to them say, look, if you have 100 naira, just give me 100 naira. I think that one is not being changed. So I have to settle for the old, 100 naira notes. At least that one I can spend that one. If I have to pay you 5,000, I have to carry about 50 or so for you, that kind of thing. So for me, it's unfortunate, and for many of us who witnessed what happened during Buhari first coming in 1984, it was a nostalgia and bring us back to those period. People were going hungry. There was no the bank. There was no ATM. There's no transfer there. You have to go to the branch of your bank for you to withdraw your money. And those days we have to take all our cash in the bank so that it won't last with us. And you are left with nothing because as you take your money to the bank is not releasing any money you may not know to you because it was their scarcity to do. And people are hungry, no buying, no selling, and a lot of people actually went through hell then. And thank God for even this period. We have ATM, we have can transfer your money, mobile banking, and the internet banking, and the rest. So which has eased the period. I can tell you, the experience is not a good one. It's not a palatable one. And I wrote in one of my books, I got that kind of experience. Simply need to wake up, we need to rise up to the challenges. And I can equally see some banks managers, some bank officials sabotaging the process because you can find the money in some wrong places. Who have the money in bundles, yet you go to ATM, you cannot find it. So there must be there's element of sabotage within the system, and that's why the government need to wake up and have to arrest those who are sabotaging this process so that they can ease the pressure on the people and you can have a seamless process of transition from old node to new node. Yes, it's a good policy, yet it will help to curb so many things, reduce the volume of currency in circulation so that people could have enough money to speculate on the naira, on the dollars and the rest. But the point is that the common man on the street should be given enough access. Most of the ATM in banks are not working. Maybe you have a 10 ATM, you can only see one functioning and dispensing limited amount to people. So government should do something about that. I mean, CBN should do something about it and push more cash into the system and equally monitor the bank as they share this money so that they won't sell it to the politicians who need the money. I'm sure that I have a good authority that some politicians are already going to the bank and buying the cash for the purpose of election. So that's what we are saying, that government should be able to track this thing and nip it in the bud.
So if the politicians are going to the bank, to buy this cash, is the aim of the CBN fulfilled? I mean, do you think they'll be able to achieve what they want to achieve?
Yeah, they will achieve their aim. Because they are using limited amount of naira into the system. So no matter how much you mop up from the bank, it will not be sufficient. Unlike when you have your own vote in the house. Before prior to the resigning of the naira, most politicians already have a vote, or they already have their own story of banknote in their houses, preparing for the election to release on the naira in vote buy and the rest. But this thing have reduced those volume because they don't have a choice but to move those volume of bank back to the system. And no matter how much they can move up from that behind the scene, they will not be able to move up enough, unlike what they are saying that they have the very power. So it has some element of success in a way. But what government should actually do, I mean, CBN should actually do that, is to ensure that the common man, the people on the street who need this money, 5,000, 10,000, and the rest, are not suffer unjustly. That the bank should be able to disperse to them. And like I always suggest to people, like I told you, I went to bank when I know I couldn't get the new note. I went to the bank manager, I said, to the system, so that people can have access to money to spend. and reduce the pressure on people queuing and waiting for the note. You don't need the naira note. As long as you can have 100, I can have. If you can have 1,000 naira, you can't transfer. I want to buy shaka yesterday. The person cannot. He just want to take transfer. If I the 3,000 to go and pay for the credit. So the people can have money to buy pepper, to buy sweet, to buy bread, and the rest. And the pressure will be less, and the agitation will be lower in the country. And that is what I would advise them to do. Push out the 100 naira.
But Mr. Maiwa, what do you think about federal government placing, ICPCs and the others, in banks?
Yeah. I still have doubt on the effectiveness of those institutions, ICPC, FCC, police, to arrest. You can't arrest people because this country is immersed in corruption. The policeman you are sent to arrest the bank manager, if the bank manager bribed him for the money he collected for the job and gave the policeman the money, the man will not see anything. You close his eyes to that. If the ICPC agent, they are human beings, they are Nigerian like you and I, and they equally need naira to spend, and you give them new naira notes as a bribe, they will take it and look elsewhere. So it will not work unless CBN himself actually use technology to track this disbursement of this money. When they know how much they are sending to each bank every day, and they can actually aggregate it from their system. How much pass through the system? How much are you disbursing through the ATM? Through they know through will bribe them, and they won't see anything. We won't achieve a lot through that system. That's my own position.
All right.
But I've seen it happen severally.
Do you think protests will help these? Will help? Let's see what is going on ground, because some people are protesting in Enugu State, also Benin, and we also have those protesting in Ekiti. And they're asking that this fuel scarcity should really be attended to, and also the naira should also be released to the public so that they can get a hold of their money.
I'm so surprised that even now people are not even talking. We have fuel scarcity for over 2 months, and people are not out on the street. And you are buying for 350. I'm buying fuel in my area 250, 300 to power generator because light is erratic. To move around in the car to buy fuel, and I can't go and queue. I spend my time to go and waste my time and queue for fuel where they are selling the control point, and people have to buy. So Nigeria need to cry out. I think by protest, I think they will call the attention of people that people are following suffering. People are suffering under this government for what they are doing. And protest for me, it will call the attention of the government to the plight of the people and ensuring that those people are in the NAPC, in whatever agency of government that handle this thing, do the right thing. So for me, that is the way people can see in France, in UK now, can see massive protests all over the place. Just to call the attention of people to suffering of the people. And to call the attention of government to say, hey, you need to do the right thing. I'm sure if we do that, government will wake up and begin to do the right thing and ease the suffering in the country.
All right, let's move away from that. Some yet to be identified gunmen attacked the office of the Independent National Electoral Commission at Ojota in the South Local Government area of Anambra State, and they burnt some of the INEC materials. What do you think about this? I mean, it's just days to the election, and it seems some people are still trying to stop the election.
Unfortunately, that the government is not realizing that the politicians can be desperate to do anything to sabotage the election, and this is not new in our system. And by now, I would expect our government to mobilize enough security agents of INEC in that particular section of the country. And you cannot rule out the hands of the politicians in some of these things. If you think you cannot win in a particular place, what will destabilize the place? And as well as do so in minimum damage so that it can reduce the vote of your opponent from that section. And I think all these things happened in Anambra could have the hand of the politician in it, not necessarily the IPOB or whatever people are calling it. It can have ID under those schemes. But government should have waken up and mobilize security. We have civil defense corps, we have police, we have army, we have all the rest. Government should have mobilized enough security around those facilities to protect it at this sensitive period of time, so that it can protect some of those facilities, so that we can have a smooth election. Otherwise, politicians will continue to do their bit to frustrate the election. What they will do is that go to your opponent's dominated area and cause maximum havoc. If you destroy INEC, PVC machine and the rest, you hamper election holding in Anambra, and you deprive whoever is showing that area from gaining a vote. So when you reduce the vote of your opponent, automatically you increase your own vote, because you are securing your own environment. Government need to move and do everything quickly and make this in the board. If truly they really want this election to hold, if truly they are interested in free and fair election, the government need to mobilize the security agency to protect INEC facility across the nation, not even in the southeast alone, all over the place. Mm-hmm. That can have a semblance of a free and fair election.
Mm. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Maiwa. Let's end this on a lighter note with Mr. and Mrs. And the first person speaking this morning is Mrs. She said, instead of you to go out there and find solution to scarcity of fuel and cash, you are here making passes at me. And Mr. replied, at least love is not scarce. Come and sit on my lap.
The man has his frustrated, so what he has to do? Go and kill, go and he doesn't have control over the NAIRA, so let him enjoy this whatever he has control over now. I think that's what he's trying to portray for us.
Yes, thank you.
So a nice one.
Yes.
For Mr. and Mrs. Today.
Yes, it is a nice one from there.
Thank you for having me today.
This morning. Yes. It's a publisher of
have a lovely day.
Yes, it's a publisher of Global Financial Digest, and he just reviewed and analyzed some of the stories on the front pages with us this morning. Now, to get more of our top stories, you can follow us on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. On Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, our WhatsApp number is also displayed on your screen. It's bye from me, Damola Ogunshaki.